Hi there, hope you're doing well. Martin here, founder of Paradigm Shift, with a quick tour of our Tax Compliance On Demand course. So on the left-hand side, we've got the same system and setup to our other courses really. We have the learning path, which I'll come back to. We also have the Discuss tab, where you can ask any questions, we'll reply, and it can be quite useful. Other students will be able to see our response as well. But the main part of the course is in the learning path. We organise it basically by chapter. I'll show you what's in each chapter. Each section you can just open and close as you wish as you move around in the course. So a few introductory bits and a syllabus updates document you can have a look at. But the main start of the course is obviously in chapter 1. So we organise each of the chapters in the same way. We always start with a turbo revision video, which is not hours and hours of death by PowerPoint. It's nice and punchy, looking at the main points only. So 21 minutes for chapter 1. Let's have a quick look. 20 minutes, chapter 12, chapter 19, just 8 minutes. It depends on the length of the chapter, basically. So we recommend you start with that. That goes through the most important points and just gives you a bit of guidance as to what is in each chapter. After that, you should have a look at the condensed workbook, which is a PDF file. So all our PDFs are downloadable, and you can print them as well if you wish. You don't have to. You can work on screen. But the condensed workbook, as you can see, is a bullet point version basically of the ICAW materials, where we map everything across to the ICAW workbook with the reference number and the subsection, so you can really easily find the content if you want to go into more detail. But we're hoping that most of it will be in the condensed workbook. These are the most important points. You can quickly read through this, much quicker than reading a whole dense chapter with all the full paragraphs and that kind of thing. So that will hopefully be useful. The next thing you should then have a look at is the short form questions just on the condensed workbook. So we tend to do about 25 questions at a time with the answers, and then another set of 25 questions and answers. This gets you thinking and gets you working actively with the condensed workbook content, because it's not multiple choice. You have to think, what constitutes an advocacy threat. You have to come up entirely with your own idea, and this really gets you working well with the content. We give you the full answers underneath. So you can either just have a quick think about what you think the answer is just in your head, or you can quickly do some notes and then debrief and work out what you need to study more and what you're missing, basically. After you've looked at the condensed workbook, so both the workbook itself and the short form questions, next thing we provide is more detail. So you don't have to use this resource or any of them, I guess. Use as much as you can. But we always start with the condensed material. That's like a priority. But if you want more detail, you can start looking at the full workbook questions. When it's got the little ticks here and that kind of marker, that's online questions. We call them quick fire questions because each one is quite quick to do. You can work through those. It always shows you the section in the workbook. So there's lots. There we are. It was section 1. Now it's 1.1. If you need to go back to the underlying material, to check an answer. Once you've clicked through and had a go at all of these in this set, we've got several sets, it takes you to an end screen that shows you what you got right and what you got wrong, and it will show you the correct answer for the bits that you got wrong. That's really useful to help you prioritize your revision. So you can download that report, print it off if you want, and some people use that as a separate resource, just looking through what they got wrong each time. Quite useful. Getting things wrong is absolutely fine. I mean, it's fine in the exam, but it's not ideal. But I mean, before the exam is no problem at all, because getting things wrong helps you learn and memorize things. And that's why we do loads and loads of questions. I think we probably do more questions than most learning providers. But that's just because we know it works, basically. You don't want to sit there with 4 hours being told about tax, and it just doesn't go in unless you're working with it. So you get multiple sets of the online questions. So then we also do a PDF with short form questions. So this is similar to what you saw earlier, but this time we're looking at the full workbook. So the ICAW workbook, basically, not the condensed workbook. But it's the same format of about 25 questions and then the answers like that. And that gets you working again actively with the workbook. For some chapters, we'll do some quickfire questions for anything with syllabus updates, but that varies a little bit depending on which chapter is which. So the idea is you work through all of those. Unfortunately, tax compliance workbook is pretty massive, 24 chapters. Yeah, it's pretty yucky, but it has to be done. So then we're working on this. That's why it says soon. So recording this video before we launch the course. And then in there, we'll have some debriefs of real past paper questions, looking at the question and the answer. And then we'll set some of those quick fire style questions after each video segment, looking at the past papers to make sure you've absorbed the learning points from that individual video. So I think that's everything and how it works. So we give you a combination of the general training, and then we go through the past paper debriefs as well. Yeah, and that's how it works. So that way you'll be very well prepared for this exam. So I hope that was clear. Let us know if you have any questions.